Hello, listeners. We're here for a special podcast with Johan of Antares Metals, code AM5. And welcome, Johan, and thanks for your time.
Good morning, Steve. Thank you very much for having me.
So we're obviously going to put focus on talking about your people, your new acquisition in Mount Isa, the Mount Isa North project, and a few other things. So firstly, let's talk about Antares and your background, sort of what made you join Antares?
Well, my background starts in the platinum industry of South Africa, working for Anglo Platinum as a geologist. And then after a few years, I dropped the hammer and picked up the drill and started breaking some rocks as a miner and mine captain eventually. But then I came to Australia in 2011 and I started a George Fisher mine just north of Mount Isa. Thoroughly enjoyed living and working there. It's a little bit isolated, but a beautiful place. Enjoyed the geology, did the resource for George Fisher and worked underground. Before, in the middle of 2016, I left for the gold fields of Kalgoorlie, spent some time there and then received an opportunity to go to New South Wales and do some exploration there for a few junior explorers, and then came back to WA again in the junior world, and now here I am with Antares. Well,
I just heard something that was worth highlighting is you got experience in the Mount Isa region and quite a few years, so that's obviously should be appealing to potential investors and that having that experience.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, it's a tricky beast up there for sure. There's a lot of copper. The trick is to find out or to find the sort of real concentrates, the potential deposits. And I mean, that's a benefit that Antares has. It's got a very large land package and there are several really good prospects on it. I'm sure we'll get to the prospects in a minute, but you're right. My knowledge and experience in that region is certainly helpful, and I look forward to contributing to the exploration efforts for sure.
Well, let's talk more about the Mount Isa North project and why copper.
Well, the Mount Isa North project, in the major target there now is called Surprise. It's a high-grade historical copper mine which produced several thousand tons at greater than 10% copper and just over 2 gram per ton gold with silver. It's a stunning looking ore body when you stand on it, and our plan at this point is to identify extensions of it. So we've already drilled it. We've announced that to the market. We got 6 holes drilled late November, early December, and we are waiting for those results, which we expect to receive sometime in the middle of January. The visual estimates, as was also released to the market, are very encouraging, and so I'm very keen to hear or to see the results when they come through.
Well, as everybody knows, copper's certainly going to be in short supply over the next sort of 5 to 10 years. So, a hot commodity as time goes on.
Oh, for sure. I think, look, copper is, in my view, copper demand is directly coupled to human population growth. Every person wants a cell phone in their hand, and the way we live, you want to flick a switch and have light. That's just the way life is these days, and
it's needed everywhere.
Oh, absolutely. So electricity is crucial, and on top of that, we have sort of technological advances which also require electricity, like phones and just general household demands and office demands. It all needs copper, and then finally things like AI, the massive server farms that are required to drive AI, which only a short while ago we were we were very concerned about AI and, it might be dangerous and so on. But now AI is everywhere, absolutely everywhere. And
No, it's got a
the
lot,
power consumption,
like anything, it's
yeah,
got a lot of positives. So that's what you got to look
that's
at.
it, yeah. The
And
power
you've also
demand
got,
is,
sorry,
yep.
Johan, you've also got
Oh,
uranium targets there as well. Is that right?
that's correct. So it's the cleanest and most efficient green energy source out there, in my view. And Australia has some of the world's largest resources. And Queensland in particularly is well endowed. We've got Valhalla literally right next door to our tenure, and we've got several really good um, uranium prospects on our ground. We actually have at Queen's Gift, we have a historic resource which we intend to upgrade in the near future. And during that upgrade of the resource, very likely we'll be doing a little bit of drilling there as well. But with all of that, we need to sort of keep an eye on the political environment in Queensland, especially because that's where we are. So it'll be important for the company to be bullish on uranium, but also be
Mindful of the,
careful, yeah, with
yep.
the way we sort of spend our cash, because we have copper, and that will certainly be the major focus of our expenditure. But at the same time, it'll be very prudent to ready ourselves on the uranium front for what I believe will be a change in sentiment in Australia to join the world in the uranium, well, in the need for uranium.
Well, it's
And
certainly another
exploiting and
conversation
exploring it.
to have in the future. Like you said, you
Mm,
look at what's happening around the world. There's a lot of new reactors being built and a lot of focus on uranium, which,
mm.
if Australia gets on board with that, it creates a lot of jobs and opportunity. And like you've already mentioned, we've got a lot of uranium deposits in Australia. So hopefully,
Yeah,
in time we all learn to accept and move forward with uranium on a positive front.
that's it. So while copper will be the main driver for us now, we will be readying ourselves for what we see will be a change in the tide, maybe a change in the guard, and then we'll be on the front foot when this happens, instead of scrambling then to put ourselves in position.
All right, so just talking more about the project. Obviously, as you said, you've already done some drilling already. Is that sort of the plan over the next sort of 12 months, is to do more drilling and build a resource?
Well, yes, we definitely want to do more drilling. We would love to build a resource, but I suppose got to walk before you can run, and therefore we need to generate targets on all the various prospects that we've got. We've already released to the market that we've completed 4 very large geophysical activities, IP and gravity and magnetics over a Surprise and Conglomerate Creek. So the aim behind this is to generate targets, which we can follow up with most likely drilling, but otherwise also some ground activities, soil sampling and mapping, reconnaissance. But we've got, so those are the sort of major targets that we've got. We're spending a lot of time and money in the ground there. But we've got others. Julius, for example, is another target which has a very long surface exposure of a structure. Very, yeah, there's a little video out on our website or on LinkedIn about that. Good structural exposure, very gossiness. We've got some high-grade surface copper results from the area. So that's a target that certainly is not drill ready, but that we will be focusing field activities on in order to work it up and turn it into a drill target. Yeah, because we realize that we need to do the field work, the sort of foundational work, before we can just put a drill on it. Just drilling any target is a good way to waste money. And we need to show that we are professional and technically capable of identifying targets and then working them up.
Yeah, well, we've highlighted the Mount Isa region where you are, but just looking at the ASX resource sector in general, it's a huge area for copper and has been for a very long time. And there's over 30 ASX companies there exploring copper, with quite a few in production as well. Nearly, we're looking at 6 in production currently on the ASX. and then you've got multiple
Mm.
projects in advanced studies. So it's a proven area and region for copper. So yeah, you're not starting from scratch. And as we've already mentioned, you've got a lot of history and experience there. So I think it's a great opportunity for Antares, and looking forward to seeing where you grow with this project.
Thank you very much. Yes, you and me both. I'm excited by what we've got there, and we've got a clear plan which we try to put to the public in every announcement. We've got a clear plan as to the next steps forward, and I am a results-driven individual, so the plan will be executed. I can guarantee that.
All right, let's talk about the board, and in particular yourself and Mark Connolly. Obviously, Mark brings a lot of experience to the company, having brought 4 projects into production over the last 20 years, which is obviously a key. Yeah, so let's talk about your people.
Well, yeah, you've said everything I can about Mark. He's a wonderful person to work with, that's for sure. A very strong and natural leader. But yes, his experience in putting projects to production and developing sort of prospects to projects is very important to us. Yeah, so he's a very key member to our board. Then Richard and Bruno, they joined us as part of the acquisition of these Queensland projects. And I mean, Richard's a geologist who brings vast amounts of experience all over the globe. And Bruno has a lot of sort of management and other board related experiences that's crucial to us. He's a CFO. He's been managing director of several other companies. Yeah, so it's a strong board. It's a diverse board. So the way I see it is, if there are sort of curveballs thrown our way, then this board certainly has the ability to address it, because they are coming at it from various points of strength.
Well, there's always challenges in the mining industry, and I mean, for listeners that are new to mining, there is so much out of executives' control, such as permits, environmental, landowners. The list goes on. So there's many challenges that mining companies have got to go through. Just to give you sort of some insight as to why things can take time to do. But look how quickly you've moved into drilling on a new acquisition. So that's brilliant. Let's talk about. Oh, sorry, Johan.
Oh, I just wanted to thank you for mentioning that, because I've received harsh emails about people wanting to drill faster, and I couldn't understand, because we had I thought we drilled within a few weeks of finalizing the acquisition, and I suppose that's an important point from investors' perspectives. We plan very certainly to spend the money in the ground, not to dilly-dally. If there's a project that requires drilling, then we'll get the drilling done. We are explorers, and spending money in the ground is most definitely the way I do business. And it's the way that we plan to reward the investors for their investment and their trust in us.
Well, you've just hit the next sort of point to talk about is the financials and where money's been spent. And even like prior to you commencing, you can see the company is focused on spending money in the ground. Over the last 12 months, you spent in excess of 2.1 million on projects and 1.4 on staff admin. So it's great to see that the higher end of the expenditure on the projects, and that's the way you're going to continue things moving forward. Now, as far as money in the bank, you did a recent raise, so you got 3.5 million in the bank, and based on sort of the last 12 plus months, that'll cover you for approximately the next 12 months, which is a great thing not to have to worry about.
Yeah, for sure. No, we are fortunate to have the funds available to us, and the plan is to, as I've mentioned a few times now, put that money in the ground, work up targets, generate prospectivity, which will drive us into the future.
Excellent. And sort of why should investors consider investing in Antares Metals, Johan?
Well, I think we've got the
I mean,
right,
obviously
as I
we've
mentioned.
highlighted a lot already in the thing, but what would be your final pitch, elevator
Yeah, well,
pitch?
so perhaps we should call this the summary then of what we've just said, because it'll be what it is. So we've got a very strong team, that's for sure, on a board level. We are in the right commodity with copper, huge growing demand, and the need for more of it going into the future with dwindling reserves. We've got strong projects in a very fertile geological setting, clear exploration plan, results driven, which will then drive future activities. And yeah, so we spend the dollars in the ground, and we will keep our investors informed as we go, try to be as transparent as we can so that our investors and those that are considering to invest will be able to make informed decisions as we keep them informed.
Excellent. Look, I really appreciate your time, Johan, and looking forward to watching the growth and results of what's happening with the Mount Isa North project.
Thank you very much, Steve. It was wonderful. Thanks for the conversation, and yeah, watch this space.
Excellent. Thanks, Johan.
Thanks, mate. See you then.
Bye.